Please be seated. The older I get and the more I experience this life, the more open to mystery and weird stuff I am. Have you been following the news of this Large Hadron Collider?
Yes.
This whole thing is absolutely fascinating. It's a tunnel somewhere in Europe under the earth that's 17 miles long. It's been under construction for 25 years to the tune of $9 billion. And physicists have created this, the world's largest machine, to smash protons together. And somehow, through the smashing of these protons, through collecting all the data related to the collision, physicists somehow, I don't pretend to understand this, I'm just talking up here, okay? Physicists say that they will be able to know what the first moments of the universe were like. That is something else. It's stunning. They believe that by maybe 2013, they will either prove or disprove the existence of a particular particle that gives the universe most of the mass the universe has. Again, I think this is just astounding and exciting and weird. But this whole thing hasn't been without controversy. Just last week, a protester was arrested in relationship to the Large Hadron Collider. Because you see, some scientists have said that it's possible, through the operation of the world's largest machine, that a black hole might open, send the Earth off its axis, and spin off into oblivion, ending the universe as we know it. Some have argued that a wormhole might open, breaching the space and time continuum. So this protester that was arrested picketing because he said that he was from the future and was here to tell us that this collider was a very bad idea. I love the mystery and the complexity of all of this. And I think what science has shown us is that the universe is much more complex than we ever believed possible. And in fact, in terms of providing answers, science maybe has given us more questions than ever before. And I think that's absolutely fascinating. Have you ever considered just how mysterious and just how weird the story that we tell is? We come to this celebration of the Feast of the Resurrection saying that a man that lived and died was given a new life by God. That God saw the integrity of this man's life and granted him new life for having lived with that integrity to the very end, offering his life in the name of love and integrity. It's not the usual thing. It's a pretty strange story. And the church has sought to domesticate this and make it sensible and rational, and has tried to present it in a way that makes sense. And the traditional formula has been something like We believe that Jesus died. We believe that he was raised and serves as a sign for us that death is not the end. And that if we follow in his way, we will not die in the forever sense. And for us, death will not be the end. That there's life beyond this life. So you pattern your life after Jesus' life, the teaching of the church, and you receive an eternal reward. And that's been satisfying for a lot of the church's history. People have found great comfort in that message. But I want to say to you this morning that the faith is much more complex than that. That the faith is much more alive than that. That it's much more real and offers us much, much more than an eternal reward following death. Because you see, this Jesus we talk about, we also claim he was present at the beginning of creation. That he was somehow an agent of God before time itself existed. That Jesus and God are somehow free of the space-time continuum. In a very real sense, Jesus is a kind of time traveler, if you will indulge me with this image for a few more moments. As an agent of creation, redemption, and the proclaimer of a new kingdom, Jesus brings the future to the present. You see, Jesus talked and taught about a kingdom that God was in the process of unfolding and offering to humankind that's going to happen out there. But Jesus taught that if you followed him now, that if you engaged with him in life and love and intimacy with God now, that perhaps that kingdom could be tasted, experienced, lived, and shared in the moment. So Jesus' life, death, resurrection, teaching, ministry, all of it, ascension, is about making what is ahead of us in the future accessible right now. We're talking about a new world. We're talking about a new life. We're talking about becoming new people, living a new way, accepting the invitation that God offers us. The resurrection of Jesus, his new life, it's a sign, it's a symbol of God's vindication and authentication of Jesus' way. His new life, resurrected life, is a seal of God's promise of freedom and purpose in the present to God's people. So friends, the good news of Easter morning, the good news of the death and resurrection of Jesus, is that we don't have to wait for a new life. We don't have to twiddle our thumbs. We don't have to sit on our hands. We don't have to hope for a better day, because a better day is here now. We only need claim it. We only need embrace it. Friends, put despair aside. In the resurrected life of Jesus, the kingdom is here. The kingdom is now. The kingdom is forever.